Hi everybody, thank you so much for being here. I feel like I wouldn't be authentic if I didn't take a moment and address what is happening in the world. And I think very much of the Will Smith quote where he says, you know, racism hasn't changed, it is now just being filmed. And it is so unfortunate, but the truth. And this is to anybody who thinks it's uncomfortable to talk about. You know, think about 400, 500 years, thousands of years of people being enslaved. And that is what should make you uncomfortable. Talking about it and educating yourself on a corrupt system is what needs to happen, because enough is enough. Black Lives Matter, and it is sad how it doesn't matter how many people die, that nothing has changed. So this is for anybody and everybody. I definitely stand firmly, and I know where my place is. I know how lucky I am that my skin color is the color that it is. But I digress. I wanted to come on and try to do something that would hopefully lighten me up a little bit and maybe take your mind off of things, not because they shouldn't be heard, but just because there is only so much your mind can take. So I am just going to go in before I go into the eyes. Actually, let me tell you about the little palette that we're going to use today. It is a Covergirl little quad. So I don't know if we can really call this a palette or not. But this is Eye Enhancer's Fard Accent. And this is the one with 3 or 4, it's a quad, help, 4 purple shades in it. This is called Smokey Nudes. I don't really understand the nude concept in this, because this is definitely not a nude, but let me try to open it up here and we'll swatchy. All right, so this video came from, this idea for this particular palette came from my aunt, actually, who my mother was telling me, you know, I don't have brushes, I don't have all of that, how do I use this? Now, I don't know. These kind of applicators, I think, work well for maybe packing on color, but blending out things, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I have not used one of these in a long time, but I will see kind of how this ends up working compared to my finger, which I have a feeling we'll probably use a fair amount of as well. So looking at these shades, they all actually have some sheen to them. Not too much, but definitely a little bit. And let me just do, they're very subtle. The pigment on these, I mean, that dark shade barely even showed up. I didn't swatch into them very hard, but I mean, that is a very light kind of dusting of color. I mean, it kind of just wipes away when I touch it. But nonetheless, this was maybe $5, and you know what? Some people don't have any money to spend on makeup. And if you're still looking to do something with makeup, stuff like this should be able to work. So we're gonna put it to the test today. But first off, we're gonna just prime up my skin, get it kind of nice and glowy. This is my Prime Light from Milani. I've been using this my past couple of videos, and I really like it. So I'm just gonna apply this all over the face. All right, we have the face primed. Now let's prime up those lids into my, as you guessed it, Milani eyeshadow primer. Little Milani run right here. Even if you don't have primer, consider maybe using a little bit of concealer over your lids. It will just help to kind of make your shadows stick, and it will help to show the true color of the shades if you have any at your discretion. If not, use without primer, but primer definitely helps. And this Milani primer is $5-6, and this I've had for months and months. It's a 12-month, that's what it says on the back. What is that? Expiration. So you can use this for a whole year. And let me tell you, especially if you don't wear makeup on a daily, that will probably last you a whole year. You don't need a lot. It's definitely worth it. If you're gonna go through the, struggle, or if you're gonna just go through and take the time, might as well prime. If you're gonna take the time, you might as well as prime. All right. So we have primed up the eyes. I am going to keep my little palette down here just because there is no mirror. That's what probably also keeps the cost pretty low. But I'm gonna go in and build it with kind of the darker color first in this outer crease area, which is not something I often do. But I kind of just wanna see how much I can build with that. I'm gonna go into it. They have two different sides to this sponge tip applicator. One is definitely pointed and one is a bit more rounded. The pointed edge I think would work better for going into the inner corner crease area, not the crease area, this one into the crease area, but I really don't know how I'm going to blend with these. Also excuses for the nails, but I tried. I think I put the nail polish on maybe 2 weeks ago. Anyway. So I'm gonna go in with this more rounded off sponge tip and take the darkest purpley shade here and put it right into my outer kind of crease area. I packed on a fair bit of color, and we'll see how much goes into this crease area, and it's a fair amount here. So I'm just gonna pack it on, flip around the sponge and get some color on the upper part of the crease. And then with the sponge tip, I'm just going to kind of lightly press, and there's still a lot of color coming off. All right, so kind of impressed with that. I'm gonna bring it up into this crease. The problem is with these sponge tip applicators, I have a feeling that this sponge tip will probably not work so well within, a couple of uses. Really, you gotta clean your brushes, but I think brushes actually have a much longer life, than something like this. So I'm gonna go in and try to do the same thing on the other eye. Don't worry, we'll blend it out. I know it looks a little harsh right now, but this is kind of how we're gonna start off the look. All right, so we have this very not blended darkness of the purpley shade. I'm now gonna go into this color here, not the So Silver one, but the one that's a lighter version almost of what we were putting and packing on the lids, or on the crease area. And I'm gonna take this just a bit and kind of the same on the opposite side of where I was placing the darker color, and see if we can kind of blend out these edges with this lighter color. I'm just gonna go in all along the edge of where I put that darker shade and see if I can blend out it all with this lighter purpley shade. And it kind of is working, but this shade also has shimmer to it, which is not really what I want in my transition area, but we'll make it work. It's all right. But it definitely looks a bit more diffused, which is a better look than what we have over here. So let me copy that on the other side. All right, so we've blended that out. I now want to go in with my finger and take the lightest shade and pop that right underneath the brow and blend into the area that I just blended. Ooh, and she's pretty pigmented. So I placed it down with one finger. I'm gonna take another finger and blend that out. I'm really Just kind of disperse the product along, kind of tap in more product if I want to, but just kind of blending and softening that edge just so we have a very soft looking kind of smoke on the other eye as well. All right. Now that I've done that highlight, I want to go in and intensify in that crease area because we lost a lot of the color when we went through and kind of tried to blend with the sponge. So I'm going to go in again with the sponge and place that color right into my crease, right into that socket of the eye, and place it, lay it down in there, kind of move it along, move it across, and just kind of keep it there. We can blend it out maybe a little bit, but ultimately we want to keep some deepness in that crease area. All right, now that we got a pretty good smoke, it's still not my favorite blend, but this look probably won't be my favorite blend. It just will probably not be something that happens super easily. I can see kind of on this inner area, I don't really like what's happening there, so I'm just gonna take my finger, kind of blend that out. And I think it's just some of the color kind of hitting. But now we're gonna go in and play with what we wanna put on the lids. I think I'm gonna go into the gray shade, we might as well use everything, and tap that on the like outer half area going into the inner half of the lid, but we'll start on the outer half. We definitely have a pretty plum look to the smokiness. You can tell it's like a smoky, but just a hair of that plum. Then I'm gonna go in with this shade and then into the lightest shade. I don't think I want this lightest one all over that first kind of inner part, just because I think it would be a lot. So I'm first gonna go in on the pointy side of the sponge tip to the second lightest color, and I'm gonna put that kind of crossing that inner third and halfway point. And we're just creating a gradient across the lid. So again, you can see the sponge tip definitely applies the color, but let's look and see what happens when I try it with my finger. Will we get any more sheen? Let's look. And we do. When you apply with your finger, there's a bit more of sheen that comes through, and I don't know if it is just perhaps warming up the product or the oils that are on your finger, but if you apply with your finger, you get a little bit more shine. But on the innermost point, it can be hard to get your finger in there, so you can take the sponge tip, that pointy part, and get it right into that corner, and bring that lightness up and blend it through. And we'll go in and we'll highlight that inner corner a little bit later as well. So there we have pretty much what I think I can do on that top lid space area. We'll come in and smoke out the bottom a little bit, but let me jump into my face. I think I'm gonna quickly put everything on. I'm working on some videos to come where it's gonna be hopefully a pretty condensed, maybe 5-minute video or less of each kind of my main base steps and how I apply, but I'll bring you back in for blush and bronzer. Maybe not bronzer, but definitely blush and highlight. So I'll see you back in a few. Hi everybody, welcome back with a good amount of my face done. I have concealer, foundation, powder, bronzer, and brows done. Now, when I was looking in the mirror, I was able to see my not so great blending work. This eye isn't as bad, but over here, I want to take this rounded side of the brush, or of the sponge tip, and just kind of blend out this edge a little bit, because I can see. What's tricky about this palette is that the darkest shade was kind of the only one that was matte, along with kind of the lightest shade. And the sheen that's coming off of this transition shade that we tried to make here isn't the most flattering, but it's not bad. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. I just wanted to blend it out a little bit more, which I do think helps. Kind of right through here, you can just see it. It just doesn't look as seamless as I would like, and I think that's part of kind of the reflect of everything coming through, but that's all right. For now, we are good. I would like to go through and kind of add like a purple liner on the bottom and then smudge with the, what is this called? Sponge tip applicator. So let me find a purple liner. Hold one moment. Got one pretty quickly, actually. This is a NYX just pencil liner in a purple violet shade, I believe. So I'm gonna go in on my tight line, waterline area, and then also bring it down just a little bit onto my lash line. Then I'm going to go in with the darkest shade on the very tip, kind of flush point, maybe a bit more on the side, seems a little bit softer for the eye, because we don't want to like go in with super crazy pointy things by our eye. But I'm just going to take this and smoke it out. Then I'm going to turn it around, use the pointier side, and just take in the light shade and bring that right into the front. Maybe a little bit of the middle shade I'll just take on my finger, just for in between the two. And I think I might take my finger to kind of blend underneath with that middle kind of shade, this one here. And I'm just going to take that on my finger and kind of drag it along the bottom. But it does end up looking a bit patchy, which is not cute. Like this all looks very patchy, which I'm not a fan of. So I'm going to go in with my finger and just try to kind of blend it out a little bit. And I don't know if the patchiness is technically from the shadows, because if I used them with a brush, I don't know, maybe they would be fine. But, you know, if you're somebody and this is your only shadow, this certainly doesn't make it easy to work with. That's where it might be more effective for you to maybe at some point just save money and buy a $20 palette of a nice, you know, kind of nicer quality. There is I believe it's a 6-pan palette called The Violets from Juvia's Place that I think is under $10 through Ulta, and I can guarantee that those shades are probably better than these. They don't come with a little applicator or anything, but getting yourself a little bit better quality shadows will make your blending life and the time that you spend doing makeup just so much more efficient and effective. I'm gonna go in with this lightest shade again because I really don't like what's happening out here, and I'm just gonna bring in the light shade, try to help blend out a little bit of everything with the kind of shimmer or shine that's in that shade, just because this will definitely not be my favorite look, but it is a look after all, ain't it? Now let's go in. I'm kind of tempted to try a little bit of purple liner because this is a purple look after all. I just don't know if this purple really is the best purple for this look, just because this one's a bit more of kind of like a blue purple, but it would be, I think, different and fun. Or I can just keep this kind of as is, because this is just supposed to be all about the palette and what the palette can offer you and get you. So I think I'm going to keep it just kind of with what we have. Let's add some blush to kind of liven up the face. I think I want to go in, I think I want to go in with something that's a bit richer, but I might regret that choice. We're just going to tap very lightly, smile. There we go, not too bad. And now let's go in with a nice kind of bright highlight. Perhaps this Makeup Geek one, which it's Starlight, which is a pretty kind of pinky color, but it's a very strong highlight, so you don't need much. I think I need gloss for sure, but I think before gloss, I'm going to curl my lashes, add some mascara, and we will conclude this look with some lip. Back in a bit. All right, everybody, I put on mascara, and man, when you have a good mascara, you just feel better about that look. I mean, really. Let me add some setting spray. It really is such a beautifully refreshing feeling. I was using all-nighter there, by the way. And now, I want to go in with a deeper kind of lip. I don't think I have anything super purpley, which would have been kind of cool for this. But I'm going to go in with this, I think, what is this called? Black Honey from Clinique. Ooh, and she is not forgiving to chapped lips. So let me add in, and what I mean by that is that held into all of my fine lines and dry patches on my lips. I do need to just exfoliate my lips, but let me add some gloss. And there we go. Here's the look. The lip is dark for me, but I will try to refrain from taking it off and putting on a clear gloss like I often do, because why not have a little bit of drama? The eyes, it's definitely not my favorite look that I've ever done. I don't love so much shine between having, you know, a shiny highlight and a shiny transition. It's just not my favorite way of putting on shades, but I wanted to use this palette only and see what I could make with it. Obviously, this look is very much wearable and doable. I wouldn't, you know, not go outside with this. This look, you know, it's fine. It's just not the best. And I don't think you can do the best with applicators like this, but it doesn't mean they're not usable. If this is all you have, if this is all you want to do, fine. Use your finger, use that sponge tip applicator to your best ability. Create something, you know, that looks pretty good. But yeah, overall, I certainly don't love it, but I can't say I hate it either. She cute, that's it. All right, everybody. Thank you again for being here. This was a little bit of like makeup therapy for myself. Go out there, try to do something you love every day. Try to smile, take in what you can, as you can, with just, you know, an open mind and an open heart. The world is in a tough place, and it has been for many years. But that doesn't, you know, mean that we can't come together and do better. Because in the end, we are all just human after all. All right. Thanks so much for being here. Bye, guys.